So good evening everybody. I am wearing the Begumpuri shari, which was not listed, but it is a Bengal handloom and very famous. The name comes from the village Begumpur itself in the Chonditola block number 2 in the Hooghly district of West Bengal. It is very special due to its balanced texture and coarser yarn, but woven in very contrast colors, and very famous for its simple part that is known as matha part, and sometimes it is belwari part, and without any ornamentation. So it is very good. I am showing some photographs also, and that is important because this Begumpuri we have on behalf of the Asiatic Society, we arranged a seminar where the weavers came, and we have heard this and I have purchased this sari. Okay. So I have purchased this sari from there, and this is the most important cotton, red and black and white. These two colors are mainly used, and also the green and purple, orange, that are very interwoven. And another is the, yes, that is the ear they use, and this is famous Vishwakarma Puja. This is special for the Begumpuri artists because they celebrate this Vishwakarma Puja in winter only. And this is another, they are doing the work, and very interesting that they are used till date traditionally the wooden toppings and the jacquard, which was following the traditional manners. So thank you everybody.
As Paramita has told, that I am wearing a Poitani silk shari today. And as the name says, its origin is from Paitan. Paitan is a small town or village of Maharashtra. And this beautiful Paitani shari is called the Queen of the Indian silk sharis. Why? Just because we all know for 2000 years the textile and the shari or the drapes are predominantly dominated by the Marathas, by the Nizams and by the Mughals. And as you can understand, since the Marathas, they are always adorned by the Paitani, so that's why Paitani is also called the Queen of the Indian saris. And apart from this, Paitani is also very famous because of the unique floral motifs and the unique designs. Why? Because the threads are intertwined in such a way that there are no loose threads. That's the reason they don't get tangled with accessories also. And the motifs and the designs are also very unique and colorful. And this is also considered as one of the auspicious dress of the Maratha wedding. So, in all Maratha occasions, you can see the beautiful Marathi women, ladies adorned with this dress. That's all. And one more thing I just want to say is that since we are observing the National Handloom Day, so we must understand the contribution of the weavers, the Indian weavers. And so we must pay humble homage to all of them because of their contribution to the Indian social and political economy.
I am wearing Tangail, which is a very it is the heritage, weaving heritage of Bengal, and it is also known as Begum Bahar. And this kind of Tangail is called Pacha Pera. Actually, this is over the hip, so this is called Pacha Pera, something like this. I am not actually known everything about the weaving, so thank you.
Come down, follow my lead. my first choice. I wanted to go for Banarsi, but I saw all the things that I was going for, kalamkari, everything was taken. And I was realizing that I have to wear something and colorful because I'm a very vibrant person. Now Bandhani is all about, it's a tie and dye kind of a thing, where you use your fingernails and do the activity. So I hope Vibha will give me more and more information about it. So let me not even try to say much. But it's a very popular thing from Gujarat. In fact, Alexander the Great had mentioned about Bandhani when he had come to India. So that's something which goes like 300 BC, I guess. But I think Vibha will give us more information about it.
I'd be happy if you did it idea. Okay, so our internal standing here is a basic tie and dye which we did in school, if you remember. We all did that. So it is a very, very intricate process because you have these circles. And the tighter the circles means more effort has gone into it and the more expensive the bandhani. This is a very good quality bandhani. And it is not only in Gujarat but also in Rajasthan, where there is a form, a very popular form of a Rajasthani print like the bandhani called the Lehariya.
Lehariya, yes,
Yeah. So
yes.
I don't know if you noticed anyone wearing these Rajasthani Marwadi women wear these Lehariya sarees with stripes.
Waves, they are like the
The
waves.
waves. So that's bandhani and a very interesting a style of Lehariya. So
जयपुर की सबसे ज्यादा फेमस साड़ी is the बांधनी.
Bandhani and the Lehariya. So just another trivia, a very interesting style of the Lehariya is called the Muthura. So a Lehariya is done only in one angle. So when you do it at two angles, just think of the effort that goes into it. You have tied once like this and once crosswise. So it's like a Lehariya check. It's so beautiful. So every time you wear a bandhani, think of the effort that's gone into it.
Okay.
And if it's an original, then the weaver deserves the price. Remember that. Never be price sensitive. Buy one good handloom, but buy one in a year.
Our very own Vice President of West Bengal Art Musician Council as well as Director of Cabinet Communication.
Come now, follow my lead. Come now, follow my lead.
There is a reason I have chosen Banarasi. Kamo bahini log, sab halchal ठीक बाटीन. हमारे ससुराल बनारस में आए. Okay, so talk about the Banarasi weaves. The most opulent and the most intricate and the most expensive weave that you probably observe in the Indian market are the Banarasi. You'll see it abroad anywhere where Indian textile is showcased with a lot of pride. The textile that is used to spot a Banarasi is always very expensive. The designs are very intricate and the opulence often comes from the usage of gold and silver thread and in the embroidery itself. Banarasi happens to be showcased as the fabric and the weaves of the Rajas and Maharajas. So that's where the opulence comes from.
Little bit has been told already about patola, but a little bit more I will say that the word pattakalam is derived from is patola, and you will find it's mentioned in the Jain religious book Kalpa Sutra around 2000 years ago. So obviously the weave goes very more behind, and I'm particularly fond of this saree because in North where I belong, I come from Punjab and Delhi. This saree is a must for marriage purpose. So this saree is actually from my marriage time, and every girl has it in her collection. This is something North Indians definitely love to have. And the way I'm draping it is also more comfortable because it can run around, do the work as well. In comparison with otherwise the way I usually wear a saree, the other ladies are wearing the same way. But whenever I feel that I want to feel easy, this is the way I drape the saree.
Okay, so this is not only a patola, but this is also called a ghat chola. And all Gujarati girls when they get married wear a ghat chola, which is white and red. So the ones that have the checks in this is a patola. It's a kind of a weave patola, but the checks make it a khartola, which is a wedding sari, and it's usually white and red.
And I think one more thing is that on both the sides, the motifs are the same.
Yeah, because it's colored, the yarn is colored before it's woven, so it comes in nice.
With me today to discuss about this special event are my two co-curators of this event, members of WBALC, Vibha and Anisha. Can I request them to come to the stage? Vibha, can you please...
August is National Handloom Day, and I think it's a very important day because handlooms are the crux of our industry, which go back thousands and thousands of years. Even in Mohenjo-daro, you see that woman who has draped a kind of a fabric which could be silk. And handlooms are the backbone of our GDP. So in case you didn't know, 50% of our GDP belongs to the textile sector. And it is so important to kind of encourage our weavers and our artisans. And they are soon becoming extinct, which is really, really sad. So the moment you go to a handloom means not a khadi or a cotton. A khadi again is a misnomer. So there are a lot of myths around these words which have been kind of adapted and changed. So a handloom is basically a hand-spun, hand-woven fabric. Hand spinning is not easy because it is time-consuming. It will also become expensive. So we look at hand-woven fabrics all over India, and very sadly there are power looms which have overtaken all our weaves all over the country. Amazon and all are selling these weaves for as less as 200 rupees. So if you have a proper khadi, so khadi is the word which Gandhi thought of, and I think it's a brilliant concept. Khadi is local, sustainable, it's handmade. So khadi is not only about that khadar textile, it's also about anything that's homemade, local, like honey. You could have other things which are khadi. And basically the Khadi Gramodyogs have a variety of products which they sell. So it is a very, very important facet for us to espouse Khadi. So when you look at the environment pollution in terms of cotton, cotton requires a lot of pesticides because otherwise the insects eat it up. The dye industry, the chemical dyes are polluting our rivers and it's leading to a lot of pollution. When we talk of plastic, we have to talk about dyes as well. So when we go back to our ancient fabrics, they are hand woven. So you're giving the employment to a human being, and that is important. What is not known that Gandhi was encouraging women empowerment. So when he introduced this whole concept of spinning, because women are the ones who did it. And what people don't know that if the national census says that we have a lack of weavers, there are 50,000, at least 50,000 women who are helping in the pre-loom process who are not included in the census. So these are very, very important issues for handloom which we need to address, adopt and take forward. So how do we know the real from the bad? So not only the real ones are a little expensive because it involves human labor, but a lot of these false, forced handlooms are being sold for exorbitant prices. So should we pay that much for something that's machine made, which is a kind of an exploitative process, or do we buy something that's original? There are many ways of distinguishing the right from the wrong. And later, a little later, I will talk about some ways which are tried and tested. And I think it is very, very important for us to know the right from the wrong, to do these tests to buy the right thing. Remember that if you buy 2 original handlooms in a year, it might save 2 weavers. And they're all becoming extinct, are art forms which are all over the country and they are lauded all over the world. We have our original samples in all the museums in the world, but we are not paying respect to it. And that's very sad. So today we have an event where we have a quiz, where there are 11 simple questions on the handlooms. There's going to be a walk where all our members are wearing some different handloom weave or a texture or an embroidery edit from a different part of the country, and each one of them is going to walk up and talk about their respective textiles. And thank you so much for coming here. So I'm wearing ajrak. Ajrak comes from the word ajor. Ajor means brick red. So quintessentially, if you see an ajrak fabric, it should be brick red in color. And ajrak comes from, it is actually produced of Sindh in Pakistan and Ajrakpur in Kutch, that's in India. And if you see this carefully, Ajrak was first identified in the Mohenjo-daro Harappa civilization, and it has been consistent till the Mughal Empire. And if you see these work over here, it is very similar to that you find on the Red Fort and Taj Mahal when you go and visit them. So these are block prints made of wooden block, and the blocks are done on the silk. I am wearing a modal silk on which this ajrak work is printed, and it is done using original natural dyes. And ajrak is dyeing art it was a dyeing art till 21st century, but people today are more aware and they have taken up ajrak and people are widely using it now. Thank you so much.
Okay, this is something I'd like to add to this. So ajrak also has its origins from, this is a resist print. So it's done in many layers, and ajrak comes also from the word ajrak or kalkar. So there are at least 10 to 12 layers over here in which it's printed. So the blocks are arranged in such a way so that some of the print comes, some of it is layered. And the primary colors of ajrak are not only red but indigo. And they're all geometric prints. So if someone gives you an ajrak with a non-geometric print, you will know it's not the original, it's a kind of a adapted print. So if you want to buy an original, you'll have to buy this. She's wearing a very beautiful original.
West Bengal Art Leadership Council, and we are working around arts, which means that any form of art is included, and textile is a very important form of art in India. It had been the one which had been booming our economy for years together and has the potential to boom the economy. And we had been doing projects with artisans in districts where we went to them. We invited Botanical Survey of India with us. They did workshops, film documentary, and explained to them the benefits of continuing with things like organic colors, which slowly, unfortunately, due to many reasons, our own artisans are actually stopped to use them. So from time to time we're doing these conversations also where we kind of do awareness programs. We invite women. There had been fabulous women doing wonderful work, but they're never, or most of the time, not in limelight. For example, even for artisans, if you ask them, it's mostly the men of the house who would say that I am doing the art practice, it belongs to my forefather. But when you closely get into their houses, you will see that most of the laborious work is being done by the women. But the name never comes of the women, which is very unfortunate. And sometimes when we want them to come forward, they also are kind of taking a back step. They don't want to come into the limelight because of many reasons. They think that they will not be appreciated in their houses. So many things like that we are working around. So and I'm really glad that these three gorgeous women in wonderful textile have curated this today. And over to you.
So I have spoken so much, I'm sure I've bored you to death, but then, I'm so tempted to correct everyone and say whatever I have to. So there is a lot on the sari. So there were two questions in your quiz on the sari. It's one of my most favorite art forms. So these are the, kind of art forms which started with storytelling. This is a kalamkari, a technique. It's a hand painted. It comes from kalam, done with a hand. It comes from Andhra Pradesh. So it was actually a storytelling technique like the Pottochitro. Even the Katha was a storytelling technique. Madhubani, they were all storytelling art techniques. And they've come into our textiles. So when you see all these gods and goddesses and flowers, which are so important. Even in the Potachitra, you have the Monasha story, the Babu Bibi, so they tell a story. So this was in the news 2 days ago, and this was actually started in Machilipatnam, and the most famous guy in India being talked about now, Pinarayi Vijayan, lived in Machilipatnam, and he designed the Indian flag. So this is the same place, and he was also given a title of Bhaktidar. So he encouraged the development of cotton and export of cotton. Now I'd like to share something very interesting about the kalamkari. The kalamkari is dipped in cow dung and milk for 2 days, and then it is dyed in myrobalan, which is hartaki. And myrobalan is used, hartaki is used as a fixative for organic colors all over the world, and it went from India. And then they make the black thing with hartaki and iron, and these are all organic colors made from plants grown in India. And the way you can see if a kalamkari is original, you smell it. It smells awful even after washing. Think of the cow dung and milk.
अब चलिए
I'm wearing katha. This is an age-old katha embroidery, which is folk art practiced by women in rural Bengal. Katha means patchwork. It is all traditional motifs done with running stitch, and this is an age-old and practice. This art is practiced over centuries. So I'm happy to wear this and promote katha. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to be adding a little trivia to each one, what everyone says. So katha is actually, they were layered fabric which women made for their children, and katha is actually something that you put on yourself. And it evolved to many other products over time, and it actually originated somewhere in Bangladesh, and there are 15, it's not only the running stitch, Shalini, there are 15 stitches, and Nokshi Katha is not practiced in Bengal, it's practiced only in Bangladesh, generally in Bangladesh. Nanur here is doing some of the Nokshi Katha which is done in Bangladesh, but it's not as good. So next person.
She's a content creator and she is here to represent Kanjivaram. Come Shijita. Start from here? No, you have to start from here.
जाना दूर कभी भी तू सीने से लगा के रखूं तेरे बिना मिलता रहे मुझको सुकून.
I am wearing a Kanchipuram silk sari. So the name, obviously, it's from the name we can understand it comes from the Kanchipuram region of Tamil Nadu. The weavers are called the Markandas. So they were also, it is believed that they were the weavers of the god himself. So it's a very fun fact that I got to know while reading about Kanchipuram saris.
थोड़ा सा
From the region, and you know what, the weaves all over India are very, very typical to each region it belongs. So in the South Indian Kanjivaram sarees, you have this brown motif which is also here, which is a Madhya Pradesh weave called Karvati. So that's for the Rudraksh. And then you have these little peacocks which are there in all the South Indian temples, which is taken. And then you have all these different things in the body, you know, which are different aspects of the flora and fauna of that region. And they are they have a Kurvai style, the way by which the contrast border is added. And to add two very, very interesting snippets. So there is something in the Kanjivaram sarees called the MS Blue. So that was when MS Subbalakshmi had a concert in Chennai. She was wearing a blue sari, it was a sellout concert, and everyone rushed to Nalli to buy that blue sari, after which it became the MS Blue. So Kanjivarams now have an MS Blue sari. And a lot of the weaves now which are being restored and introduced, you don't get the original weaves, but they belong to Rukmini Devi Arundale from her center which is called, I've forgotten. And the traditional, the temple saris belong to her, and they've been recreated now, and they call it the Rukmini Devi Aruntel, and the center which belongs to her. So they come from there.
Well-known Thai chef of the city, and she has her own bistro called the Little Bistro. Zara is presently making waves cooking on Ramnaghar on television, and yes, her cafe tucked in just next to the mother's house on AJC Bose Road is one of the most happening bistros in town. So Zara is sporting Tassar, and she's all here for us to talk about it.
I'm in love with the shape of you. न जाना दूर कभी भी तू सीने से लगा के तेरे बिना मिलता नहीं मुझको सुकून. I'm in love with your body.
थोड़ा उधर हो जाइए.
Hi everyone. Okay. I don't have too much knowledge about this. I just love to wear saris, but this tussar silk, what I know, is made from these silkworms. Basically, are the forest worm, and tussar is basically desi silk. So that is all I know about this this weave. But I know this is very popular in India, and there are it's mostly from Bhagalpur, and we have a few handlooms here in Bengal. But the most important thing which I read about it is a 100 crore business where 50% is export. So this tussar silk, I don't know how much we use it, but a lot of people abroad do use that. Thank you.
Tussar silk, it is an animal-based fiber. So you have the cocoons which are taken. They're not silk cocoons, but they're called poka in Bangla, and they're basically insects. And from one insect they're boiled. They're killed, and then the thread is pulled out. So one insect has about I've forgotten how many thousand, 20,000 meters of yarn that comes out of one poka. So a lot of the people objected, the animal rights activists, live cocoon being, being boiled. So you have live cocoons from which the thread is drawn out, and it's called eri silk. So which is a kind of a non-violent silk. It's called a non-violent silk, and especially it is woven in Assam. And special about Assam tussar, you get tussar in Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, even a little bit Orissa, but Bhagalpur, yes. So Assam silk is very, very precious and popular. It's called liquid, gold. So it's a munga silk, and it looks like gold. And the regular tussar sells for about 700 rupees a meter, but Assam munga sells for as much as 3,000 rupees a meter. It is so precious and so very beautiful. And Rukmini Devi Arundel saris are called Kalakshitra saris. I'm sorry, I remember after I walked off.
And I just know one more thing. These silks are also used for soap. Like they are used as in the oil, and soaps are made out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in love with your body.
So what I'm wearing here is a Jamdani sari. This particular weave was actually born in the Narayanganj district of Bangladesh, and it is also called the Dhakai from the capital of Bangladesh, Dhaka. That's where it derives its name from. It is actually a very beautiful weave, traditionally associated with the muslin fabric, which is actually a variety of cotton, and it usually has a touch of gold like this sari does, and it is also increasingly, this variety, this fabric is actually being woven a lot in the Pulia, the Pulia area of Nadia district in West Bengal.
and it is of course a very, very exquisite weave that is also very labor intensive. That's it. Okay, so I have a lot to say about this because this is my favorite topic, Jamdani. So Jamdani comes from the word Jamdani, which is vase, a bouquet of flowers, Jamdani, right? So the older saris had a lot of these flower motifs in the achal, and this is actually from Bangladesh. Some people are weaving it. So when she spoke about muslin, let me tell you that muslin could be 100, 200, 300, 500, even 1,000 count muslin which you get in Vishwavanga. 1,000 count muslin means that in 1 inch of the weave, there are 1,000 yards. You can imagine how fine the yard is. And it was called lighter than air. And it used to actually, like the shatu shawls, go through a ring. So there are few weavers in Nadia who still have this fine jamdani. And there is this lovely anecdote which is so close to my heart, that Aurangzeb's daughter Jahanara came into court and he reprimanded her. There were a lot of pictures also on the net. And he said, why you come out wearing almost next to nothing? She was wearing 8 layers of muslin. And that's how beautiful this fabric is. And the people took it abroad and we lost our art, we're trying to bring it back. So when I'm talking about this, when I'm talking about handlooms, I'm sorry I'm taking up your time, but again, it's a little lesson on weaving. So when you're weaving a plain fabric like this, it's very difficult to say whether it's machine woven and hand woven. The only way you can make out is imperfections in the weave. The moment a weave is imperfect, you know it's done by hand. So look for those and don't give up those weaves. For a jamdani, let me explain to you, there's something called a warp and weft. And these booties are done by the weaver by hand, the shuttle. So the warp is the straight yarn and the weft is the sideways yarn. And he's making each of these booties, embroidering them on the loop. And he's doing it with memory. So you think of the mathematical skill that goes into it. And the way to check out whether you're paying, I confirmed it with her, she's paid a lot, I know, because it's a beautiful karwa jamdani. Karwa means it's totally done by hand. So how do you make out it's done by hand when you look at the back side? Each motif has a beginning and end. Like when you're embroidering a motif, you tie a knot, you start the motif and you finish it and you end it, right? So that is the karwa weave. And when you're making it in a loom, the loom can't embroider the flowers. So it's just passing the yarn on one to the other and then later on the weavers cut it. So that's called katwa. So you know that takes about a day to make, and this must have taken at least 20 to 25 days. So you're paying the weaver his due compensation. And also I would like to tell you that the more colors there are, think of the amount of effort that goes into it. So if it's a red, green, blue, black, so that's the kind of effort.
Everything that is, happening around us, with things moving so fast that we actually take a minute and, pause to kind of protect the legacy and the heritage that we have. And as a country, we are very rich in this aspect. So I think it's, the reason we put this together was because we wanted to make sure that we, talk enough about our heritage, our culture, and the handlooms that have come down and, passed on to us from so many generations. So I won't take more time. That was the reason we've done this, and we're glad to have you all with us, and especially all the participants who have come so nicely dressed in their finest handlooms. And that's it. We hope you have a good evening. Thank you so much for being here.
To start, we have a handloom quiz. And the quiz is going to be conducted by the inimitable Vibha, because she is the only one who knows all the answers. And she is very worried that you all are going to be cheating. So please be careful. Vibha has her eyes on you all, okay? So we'll be handing over the quiz questions and the answer scripts. So please don't.
Now follow my lead.
पीछे हो जाइए, पीछे हो जाइए.
So I'm wearing a ghicha cotton. The ghicha is it's a reed from the cocoon, and which is not in the reeding process of the tussar. This silken yarn is then blended either with silk or it's blended with cotton, and what you get as a result is
Gicha, and I'm sure Vibha is going to add lots more to this.
Okay. Okay, the only thing I can say about Gicha is that I'm wearing a tussar. So when you are sizing the yarn and you're sizing it up, like for example for a sari you need 6 yards. So you have to measure it. So the yarn is very soft and fragile. So what they do is they add starch to it and gum to make it stick.
Madam.
And they add starch to it and gum. So in normal silk and cotton, everything they add the sizing process is done. So they take off this gum and starch after it's tied on the loom. For a Gicha they don't, which gives it that very, very rough texture. So which you can see over here, that's it.
Thank you.
She is wearing a kashida. Anisha, all yours.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm wearing a kashida. Kashida is one of the oldest forms of embroidery which originated in Kashmir. The word kashida means utha hua, and essentially what it is it's a lot of thread work, which is done to kind of form various patterns, flowers, designs, etc. So that's all that I know about what I'm wearing, and what I like about it, I got this when I got married, and what I like about it, it has the mix between traditional and modern. If you see the border, it's got this little patch of sequence work, so it's a little mix between our heritage and fashion. So that's what I'm wearing today. And Vibha, anything more about kashida?
Yes, I will talk about it first.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, yes, as she said, I'm wearing a bonkai, which I've missed idea. I got to know it's from Orissa, and the beautiful thing about is that it actually represents the beach, the seaside, the flora fauna of their sides of Orissa, which is famous for, and all the local motifs are there. It's pretty beautiful. And the thing is that when I asked my mom, like, can you tell me something about bonkai? She said, "Biyete diyechi, bas hoye geche, er beshi jigesh korbe na." So I'm sorry, I have no idea much to say about it. If someone can help me out.
No, you finish. I'll talk about the Orissa weeks later.
Okay, thank you.